yes, actually you are. Hello and welcome to the Lockhart Radio Podcast. I am your host, Felicia Lockhart. And we got some stuff that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be here with you for a good while. And I think the first thing that we really need to ask is our country ready for some of the changes that we got going on? Specifically, well, we're going to deal with the homeless situation tomorrow on Headlines, right? But tonight, we're going to look at the whole SNAP situation. There's a lot of people that are losing it. They're literally snapping. They're literally losing it over the SNAP benefits. And I don't know. I think there's some good reason to snap about the whole SNAP thing. Yeah, I do. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to look at the food desert situation. We're going to look at a couple of areas that, believe it or not, have some great resources going on in their community, in that they've actually got a couple of wonderful farms that people can have. Listen, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. So I tell you what, we're going to take a second and we'll be right back to dig right into this. We're going to dig into it. The SNAP benefits change has people snap, crackling, and popping. My son brought that up. He thought that'd be funny. All right, we're going to get right into it right after this.
Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will.
Yes, that is so right. Judge Joe Brown does have a delicious barbecue sauce. And I know there are a lot of people who have purchased it, so I just want to tell you thank you so very much for that. For those folks who have not purchased it, what you waiting for? Go out and get yourself some. I like it. It's delicious. A few people that frequent the channel has purchased it and have come back to tell me they love it. All right. So what we're dealing with right now is the food benefits, SNAP. People are losing it. I mean, do you know anybody who's on it? Are you on it? Do you feel like this is a bad thing? Well, we're going to take a look at 3 different stories that's going to sort of, throw us in the bullpen with this whole conversation. And I'm going to make my commentary as we watch it. So this right here is Trump's spending plan to cut the SNAP benefits to millions of people.
A new report from the Congressional Budget Office says millions of Americans could lose SNAP benefits due to expanded work requirements included in the Trump administration's spending bill. Brianna Fallon joins us in the studio with more details. Brianna.
The report estimates roughly 2.4 million Americans could lose these benefits, specifically from the expanded work requirements. But food bank officials say the program is successful, mentioning that SNAP should not face any cuts. If anything, they say more money should go into that program.
It is the #1 defense against hunger in the entire United States.
Tori Stamps from the Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia and the Eastern Shore says hundreds of thousands of Virginians could lose their SNAP benefits over the next few years as the Trump administration's spending bill fully takes effect.
The first word that came to my mind is outrageous. SNAP is a very successful program.
But some changes to SNAP could impact Virginians even if you're not using SNAP benefits. And part of that is due to an expense shift.
And that's why I issued an executive directive yesterday for us to collaboratively work with the localities that administer SNAP.
The expense shift includes a 25% increase in administrative costs from the state. and requires states with error rates higher than 6% to pay a certain share for the program. Data from the USDA shows Virginia's error rate for SNAP in fiscal year 2024 is over 11%. And according to that executive directive by Governor Glenn Youngkin, if the number does not fall below 6% by October 1st, 2027, the state will have to pay a 15% share for benefits. That's about $270 million from the general fund annually.
And we want to work together in order to bring our error rates down. They've been too high. They've been too high for nearly a decade.
While Governor Youngkin says the state will have enough money in the general fund to support the possible expense, the executive directive works to reduce the error rate below that 6% threshold. If successful, the state would not pay that share of the benefits.
Well, it looks like they're not looking forward to having to pay that portion, and I can understand that. But what about some of the other areas that people are looking at right now as it relates to the SNAP benefits program? A lot of folks are saying, hey, this is becoming a little too restrictive, while other people are saying, well, they don't need those stamps anyway. They need to get out and get a job. Okay, great. But how about this? The majority of Americans at this particular time that we are doing all of these cuts, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things here. But of course, like I told you at the top of the hour, we're looking specifically tomorrow on the Lockhart Perspective headlines with The Voice at the homeless situation. Because here's what I want to tie in. All of this stuff has everything to do with all Americans. You see, a long time ago, when people, wore pajamas and lived life slow. No, just joking. They were, people were really complaining about the food stamps and saying that people who were lazy and they didn't go to work. Well, how about now? The United States has changed in such a way that a lot of people are now on food stamps. And these are just regular everyday folks. There had been this whole quest to make this, what do you call them? Just the lower class and the upper class. And they're doing it piece by piece. I mean, when you consider the amount of housing, how the housing has gone up and people's, money that they make at their job has stayed the same, a lot of people find that they're sliding into the ability to be qualified to receive these stamps or this EBT card. That SNAP benefits portion for that particular area in Virginia is just basically telling you what they plan to do with the fund. Let's go on ahead and listen to the close of this. I think she's got about 2 more seconds to make her closing argument. And we're going to look at some other stories because I got some answers for you, baby. If you guys are on stamps and you want to have some answers, I got a good summation for this whole entire thing. So you want to sit down and listen. All right. You want to hear what I got to share.
And according to the USDA in fiscal year 2024, the average error rate for the country was almost 11%. Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
Okay. That was that young lady. And
there's so many other things that you.
This is Spectrum News. What are they talking about, though? Let's just see. Trump's spending plan cuts billions from SNAP funding. Okay, let's listen to this, right? Let's listen to this because this is not one of the stories, but we're going to be here for a minute. So let's look at this one because it sort of transitioned right in. And then I'm going to show you the other two that I have. I want to see what she's got to say here.
Could cut. Why do you want people to starve?
You're watching The Big Deal, where we are continuing to analyze President Trump's tax and spending law and what it will mean for everyday American families. Today, we're taking a closer look at changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP for short, the federal food aid program formerly known as food stamps. Right now, about 42 million Americans living in 22 million households receive SNAP benefits. To put that in context, that's 1 out of every 8 people in the United States.
Okay, that's some good statistics for us when you get to where I'm about to go at the very end here when I give you my part. Very good. I'm glad we actually allowed this to roll through so that we could see it. So 42 million recipients. And according to their graph here, their chart, $350 average monthly household benefits. Now, you and I know that $350 is not a lot of money, but if you've got a job and your spouse has a job, or just you by yourself, and you guys have got a couple of kids, that $350, if you're purchasing food the right way, you might be able to make a little bit of a dent, right? Because if you consider maybe like a family of 4, that's not going to make a big difference, but it will make a difference if you know how to, stretch them dollars. So $350, but he said 1 in every 8. 1 in every 8 people. I don't know. I think it might be more than that, but let's just go ahead and finish listening to this.
Average household benefit is about $350 a month. The president's spending plan will cut SNAP funding by $187 billion over the next 10 years. And receiving food assistance will now include work requirements and require states to pick up some of the federal program's cost starting in 2028. All told, these cuts mean that millions of Americans will be at risk of losing some or all of their benefits, which could lead to increased food insecurity all around the nation. Spectrum News reporter Natalie Basha spoke to one grandmother in California and has this report.
As she shops for groceries, 59-year-old Dion Watts is thinking about what to make for dinner tonight. After all, she has to feed her 5 granddaughters who live with her, and that's a lot of mouths to feed.
The avocados is for the toast that the kids make in the morning time for breakfast. Then they may make an egg to go with the on top of the toast with the avocado. And the berries is for the 3-year-old.
But in her head, Dion is counting every dollar. She receives money from SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, just $200 a month. And to make that stretch, Dion says, is tricky. So tricky that she sometimes goes without food.
It might happen 3 times a week because I don't want to eat it up from them because I know that they're going to need it when they come home. So I will go hungry. I have went hungry.
And that's a reality. That's a grandmother, and she's got her grandchildren. And I tell you, that is a reality. It is. This is what the SNAP program is for. It's for people like her, right? And unfortunately, it's increasingly becoming for people like just regular everyday folks. Betty R., welcome, my sisters. Good to see you. Okay. And that's absolutely right. You see what Betty R. says? That's exactly what moms do. Absolutely. And she's old school, right, Betty? So what she's doing is saying, hey, you know what? I know that I'm going to be okay, but I'm not going to let these grandbabies, suffer. I'm not going to let them go without. So I'm going to go a couple of days and not eat, right? And she looks like she's very healthy as far as the food that she's chosen or choosing for the girls. She looks as if she understands. She probably fasts on purpose, right? But I got to hurry up and get through this, but I'm going to make this statement. I think it's a damn shame that where our country is right now, that we can send all of this money to overseas, over the water to all these other countries that have absolutely nothing to do with us, and they don't give 2 rips about us, but we're able to send money over to those other countries and feed those people. And yet we have people here in the United States that are starving. Okay? We have people here in the United States that are literally starving, that cannot figure out where their next meal is going to come from. We've got people like this dear grandmother who has decided, hey, if anything goes on, I'm going to make sure that these babies eat because I'll be all right. All right, I'm going to be okay. But I think it's a shame. And that's the reason why I'm saying, let me hurry up and get through all these stories because I'm hot. And I think you're going to hear how hot I am tomorrow at 6 o'clock if I don't push it up earlier, dealing with the homeless situation that we're looking at right now in America. I find it quite amazing that where we are right now is a place that is almost like a dystopian place. We've got people like this grandmother who's doing the right thing, She went and she got food stamps. She has custody of her grandchildren. Like she says, she may not eat, but those babies are going to eat. But that's America. And now we have President Trump. I don't care who's in office. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And baby, I'm going to step on your toes. If your toes need to be stepped on, you may as well pick them up, sir, madam, right? Because he is right now going through this phase where we now have a Supreme Court case that was done last year. And this Supreme Court case says, hey, guess what? It's not against a person's, it's not cruel and unusual punishment to decide that homeless people or people sleeping in parks or these encampments, you can get rid of them. Get rid of them. You don't have to. It's not cruel and unusual punishment to ask them to go away. So what are we becoming? Okay, great. We got the food stamp situation under control. We got a lot of people who don't agree with it, and that's fine. And then we've got a lot of people who need it. But as I said at the top of the hour, hey, guess what else is going on? You got more bills. You have higher energy, higher gas prices, higher rent, higher everything. You want to live in a place that's got 3 bedrooms? That place that could have cost you down south $750 pre-pandemic is now running you $1,800 in a place like Alabama. Okay, no lie. Pre-pandemic, it was about $750. Okay, may have had a couple of errors in it, needed some repairs. Those repairs didn't get fixed. They didn't get fixed. But the rent went up. Okay, so now you got that same individual. They were able to hold on to their job pre-pandemic, and then post-pandemic, they still had that same job. Thank goodness for that person, right? But guess what? That rent went up, but their employer couldn't pay them anymore. So now they are this grandmother. All right? Let's put things in perspective as we're talking about this. So hold up, let's go.
So they could have enough.
But on July 4th of this year, President Donald Trump signed into law his Big Beautiful Bill, which includes a $200 billion cut to the SNAP program set to take place over the next 10 years. President Trump's administration says the cut is necessary to curb government spending and to shift the responsibility of SNAP to states. But according to Food Access LA, that proposed cut puts 5 million California families at risk.
For an example, a family of maybe 5 or...
Wait a minute, I have to ask you a question. Since this is run specifically by the Agricultural Department or the Department of Agriculture, I get it, you want the states to take part. But again, this is run by the Department of Agriculture. So then I think if you can take our money and go send it overseas, perhaps we should have had a say in this. I don't mind giving to a grandmother like that. I don't mind giving it to poor people that's out here, and I'm not going to govern what somebody else is going to eat. And I don't have to tell you, I may not eat pork, but I can't tell you that you can't eat a candy bar. I might not eat it. All right. But I'm not going to tell you. So I think we're getting a little busy here. We're getting a little busy, and you're going to see exactly where we're headed in a second here.
6 rely on a bag of apples 3 days. That might not last them those 3 days anymore.
Desiree Patillo is the district manager of Mother's Nutritional Center in Los Angeles, and she says cuts to SNAP would have an obvious and immediate result.
You know, junk food is cheaper than fruit and vegetables, sadly to say. And I'm quite sure that that would be the result of if in the case that the benefits were to be reduced.
There's so many other things that you could cut. But why do you want people to starve?
Natalie Basha, Spectrum News.
Joining me.
They want people to starve because it's a needful thing for where this country is headed. Again, as I stated before, it should not be a strange idea or strange thought process to us that this is what's going on. We had the whole entire 2020 and 2021, but specifically 2020, was set up for them to see exactly how we would behave if. Now they already know our habits, and now they already know our ability to order online, not to go pick the food up. They know our ability and what snacks and things that we would eat. They already know. But I got something for you, baby. I'm going to hope. This is what I hope. I hope that all of these people that are going through this right now, that, oh gosh, let me just let you guys see the rest of this because I don't want to get into the weeds, but there is some good info that I got for mamas, daddies, people who are raising kids by themselves and they can't get any more snacks. Honey, you want to tune in. You want to hold on for
Now,
this.
with more on this is Elaine Waxman, a senior fellow at the Urban Institute, a nonpartisan policy research organization. Ms. Waxman specializes in food insecurity and federal nutrition programs. And Ms. Waxman, President Trump's bill is going to make it more difficult for Americans to qualify for SNAP benefits. Your research at the Urban Institute estimates that more than 22 million families could lose some or all of their benefits. Is there a particular category of recipient who would be at risk?
That's a great question because at some level, everybody who participates in SNAP will be affected. In particular, we have lost the ability to periodically update the market basket upon which benefits are based. And that's important because currently, in 99% of US counties, the maximum SNAP benefit falls short of the cost of a very moderately priced meal. So SNAP was already inadequate, and we won't be able to dig ourselves out of that hole. In terms of who else is affected, we have expanded work requirements on folks with teenage children. That's new. We've not had parents involved in that before. And also older adults, 59 to 64. The problem is that it's hard to meet work requirements in the low-wage labor market. So people may often be working, but they work seasonal labor, their hours are cut by employers. And so what that means is if they don't meet the requirement consistently, they can only get 3 months of SNAP benefits in a 3-year period.
This is going to mark the biggest cut to the SNAP program since it began back in 1939. Why did the federal government first start providing food benefits? This is during the Great Depression, of course. And how has it improved health for recipients over the years?
Yeah, early on in the Great Depression, it was a response to huge economic dislocation. But over time, we've learned that food insecurity affects a wide swath of people in the United States. And right now, actually, we have as many food insecure people nearly as we did at the peak of the Great Recession. So we're already going into this stretch in a not good position. I think that we will see it in terms of health impacts because we know that SNAP reduces food insecurity, that it improves outcomes for people with chronic illness, and it reduces healthcare expenditures by a factor of about $1,400 a year. So we will feel it and see it in our communities, even if, we ourselves are not affected.
I want to come back to something you touched on, and that was underscored in the story from California we just saw. Even before the latest cut, SNAP benefits were not sufficient to feed a family. I mean, we saw this woman, $200 a month is not enough to feed a grown woman with 5 kids. And you found that the maximum SNAP benefit does not cover the cost of a modestly priced meal in 99% of the nation's counties. Is that deliberate? Is the inadequacy a deliberate feature of the program?
I think some people would argue yes, that people have viewed SNAP as a supplement, but in fact, for 4 out of 10 households, it is the only resource they have to purchase food. Their expenses and their income mean that they have zero income available for a food budget. So that's really profound when you put individuals like that at risk. The grandmother that you spoke with was obviously trying to purchase healthy foods, but healthy foods are a risk. They are perishable. They are more expensive. Tariffs on food may increase the cost of those. And so the kinds of inadequacies we've seen will probably only increase.
Okay. Thank you very much for all of that information and insight. Elaine Waxman, thanks for joining us. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum.
Okay, you guys, go to Spectrum News if you want to follow more from that channel and from that news organization. I think that was a very well put together story. And here's some of the things that I want us to think about, because with everything that lady just said, here goes some of the things that you got a few things to look at. Right now in America, we don't have the ability as we once did back when this whole program started, which is possibly the reason why some would say it should never have started in the first place. Because when it started, I venture, that there were probably more folks able to grow their own food. Well, that's not even a possibility anymore. Growing your own food is not a possibility. For some, it is, but not enough to feed like that grandmother and her 5 grandchildren. And especially in Los Angeles County, where is she going to grow it? She could possibly grow it out of some pots, out of some containers. But listen, there are so many other things that go into that, right? So we don't have the ability to grow fruits and vegetables the way that we used to. Now, California, believe it or not, was Los Angeles County in and of itself was a fruit basket at one time. It was a food basket. It really honestly was. I tell you guys sometimes about the fact that we used to walk from home to school. If we didn't eat a bowl of cereal and some bananas and, have something to eat in the morning, we could literally eat all the way to school. Let me tell you how. Because there were large loquat trees. There was oranges. We would have avocados. We could eat plums. We could eat a lot of stuff going to school in Los Angeles County when I was coming up, right? We could, when we went to elementary, we could eat. Going to our middle school, then called junior high school, we would grub up every day. We would eat even coming home. We would eat so much fruit that we even ventured in to try to eat the green oranges, which absolutely were delicious. I don't know if they were good for us, but I know I'm still here. So those are the things that we would do. But we don't have that ability anymore. I remember when they were spraying for the medfly, or at least that's what they told us in California, they were spraying for the medfly. But I don't know if that's really what it was. I mean, now in my mind, if I wanted to think conspiratorially, I would say that they'll probably spraying for something else, especially in that whole corridor of LA or LA County that we were living in, which was Carson. We did a show on the Lockhart Perspective Headlines with a Voice, dealing with that corridor there in San Pedro, Wilmington, Carson, and then parts of Compton, Torrance, all of those areas that had a lot of carcinogen, stuff going on with the refinery. So with that said, I don't know why they were spraying like they were, but I mean, they used to tell us about the medfly. They sprayed. And I do remember shortly after that where there was a lot of those trees that did not yield any more fruit. However, I do know that sometimes a tree will not yield fruit and then another couple of years will come back. But guess what? A lot of those didn't. My children were raised when we lived in California with a plum tree in our backyard. And my neighbor's yard used to hang, there was her avocados that used to hang over our yard. So she and we would, swap out bags of fruit or baskets of fruit. I would give her boatloads and tell her, come get as much as you want, or here you go. And she would over the fence pass me a boatload of avocados, which are a great source of, healthy fats, protein, and all that good stuff. So we were able to do that back then, but you don't have that luxury right now. So this is not a good thing. You guys, we're headed in a place that they've created. I don't want to, have my tinfoil fedora, but I can't help but think where we could be, where we could be going. Hey, Michael Powell, lots of green farms in California, he says. Okay, he says, right, the bark beetle, etc., symptoms of geoengineering. Yes, there you go. We could not harvest from our fig tree when we had it. You see, we could not harvest from our fig tree when we had it. And don't you know, I love figs. Hey, there's my buddy Joshua. How are you doing? It's good to see you. You see what I mean? We used to love those figs, and that's one of my favorite fruits. And I can't find them every year. They'll have them a short little spurt down here at, I have to go to the Publix sometimes, and they'll have them sometimes, but they don't always have them. And so there'll be a couple of years where I don't get them. Okay. where I just don't get them. You know, I looked it up, Michael. I did, and I sent in a request. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. All right, good idea. By the way, good idea. Good looking out. And so that's one of the things. You have a lot of people who are not prepared to be able to cook and to be able to grow and to be able to do all those things. So now we're going to take another look at another story. We've got about 2 more stories. And this, you know, I feel so bad for RFK. And I know people are saying, well, why would you feel sorry for him? Because I really don't think he realized how much he bit off when he left his publication. Right? When he left his publication, I don't think he realized how much he actually bit off. But let's take a look at what he's got going on here.
New at 6.
Okay, let me go on ahead and pump this up there. Let's see what
Health
he's
and
got.
Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants junk food stripped from SNAP.
Yeah, this is part of President Trump's plan to make America healthy again. Nearly a dozen states have agreed to the limits. Fox 35's Mike Emanuel has more.
The National Mall was turned into a bustling farmers market Monday, part of the Trump administration's effort to make America healthy again.
We need to lighten up some regulations that allow way more local food to be eaten.
And the administration is going further, approving more waivers allowing states to ban certain junk foods from the list paid for by the SNAP program, formerly known as food stamps.
Today, I'm proud to sign 6 more waivers for Florida, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Colorado.
The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, served more than 41 million people and cost $100 billion in 2024. Before the waivers, the funds could not be used to buy products such as alcohol, tobacco, or prepared foods. In May, Nebraska became the first state to get approval to also restrict soda and energy drinks. Proponents of the waivers, including Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., say they will incentivize Americans to eat healthier.
If you want to buy a sugary soda, you ought to be able to do that. But the U.S. taxpayer should not pay for it.
But industry groups like the National Grocers Association raised concerns the waivers could cause confusion among consumers, saying it's up to the government, quote, to determine whether their goals are being met without negatively affecting access to nutritious food. This year, SNAP has served a monthly average of 42 million Americans with about $188 in benefits per person. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Okay, so we saw that. We get it. We're going to look at another story now, because to date, roughly, not exactly, but roughly, we have spent about $175 billion that we've given
this neighborhood.
About $175 billion. And this is rough, right? This is not an exact number. $175 billion that we've given to the Ukraine. Let that sink in. And then think about the amount that grandmother with the 5 granddaughters gets a month. $200. And they're going to require that older woman to go to work, which is fine. She probably already works, which is the reason why she's only getting the $200, because she's probably working, or she's, I don't know, maybe getting some funds for taking care of the kids. Who knows? But consider $200, 5 growing girls, and a grandmother. Let's hear what this story is all about.
It is considered a food desert, but the university area CDC is doing a lot to help. Behind us is a community garden, and now learning that SNAP benefits will have a couple of less items that you can get. They're doing more to teach the people in this neighborhood about nutrition.
Soon, Floridians holding an EBT card will see some restrictions. From the start of 2026 to the end of 2027, Floridians won't be able to purchase soda, energy drinks, candy, or prepared desserts, according to a letter from the USDA.
They shouldn't be able to tell you that. They should.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah, my sister too.
Tell people what they can't buy.
Yeah.
A shock to Joanne McCrae.
They're going to buy it anyway.
It's a part of a USDA demonstration project. The state will spend that time looking to see if there's a decline in disease and illness. changes to behavior, and increased nutrition knowledge for food stamp recipients. But it does bring up a different topic. What about neighborhoods with limited access to healthier options?
Unfortunately, in this area, we are in what we consider a food desert. And so part of what we do on a daily basis is figure out how do we support the community.
University Area CDC Chief Operating Officer Leticia Haley Brown says she's now focused on educating the people in University Area.
I think the biggest thing is with our SNAP benefits, a lot of times they fall back onto going to the dollar store, going to the local store, the thing that's closest to them, and buying what's available. So then now, as an organization, we got to think, what's here, what's available, and what do they have that's on the SNAP list that's available.
She wants to focus on lesser known alternatives that are still available but healthier, and that includes working with nearby stores.
Probably next up, we'll be working with many of the stores and saying, okay, guys, do you see what's on the list? And is it possible that we can add some of these new items and then somehow getting some of these new items here for them to taste before they commit and use their SNAP benefits?
6 to 7 years ago is when this garden started.
Getting more people to eat healthy isn't new for the UACDC.
We might have some squash.
Inside Harvest Hope Park, fresh fruits and veggies grow year-round in their community garden.
We're constantly thanked in the community for providing this stuff like this.
Add in the nutrition classes and food drives. It's the missing middle between.
And here's the sad piece about this is that when you left people alone, they were already self-sufficient. If you didn't give them this option of having the food stamps, if you didn't see, that's the reason why I always say, no, don't give me nothing, because if you give it to me, you can take it from me. So don't give me nothing. I don't want nothing from you, because if you give it to me, you can take it back. When they gave people this, people did still have the ability to at least put a seed or two in the ground. I'm very, very thankful that this gentleman has this, garden in the community. But what about the countless amounts of people who should be already putting the seeds in their ground themselves, in the very community that this blessed man is in? Thank goodness that this gentleman is there. Thank goodness. But what about the fact that if people had not been tampered with and been given an opportunity to take free food from a government who could snatch it back and then take it the same self-time, those tax dollars, and run across the water and go to Israel, go to other parts of Africa for crazy stuff, not even to help them, but for some of the things that we saw and some of the bills that were, in times past, right? All kinds of crazy things, right? But then, now you've got people giving to Israel. You got us giving to Ukraine. You got us giving to other different parts of Africa. You got us in everybody's business. Now, when you add to that these tariffs that are about to happen, that people are thinking it's just going to affect those countries. No, it is not. It is not. Those tariffs are going to affect you and me, because any pricing that would be increased from a company is going to be passed on, as it always is, no matter what the circumstance, to the consumer. And that would be you, and that would be me. But I don't believe that anybody is ready for what's about to happen. And I think that it's going to be a large screeching of the brakes, a large screeching of the brakes. Again, shameless plug. Tomorrow we are looking at the homelessness situation on Headlines with a Voice of Lockhart Perspective. We're going to be over there. Right? We're going to be over there. We're going to be talking about the homeless situation. You see, these things are compounded. These things are layered right on top of each other. You cannot separate these two topics, because generally some of those people who are homeless are using the welfare location to get their, to get their benefits, because they have to have an address. All right. But in places like California, that this is going to really affect with regards to homeless. Of course, we can't consider DC a state. However, they actually installed a mayor, and I don't know how they could have done that either, because that's not a city state. That's really the place where they're supposed to conduct their business. But with that in mind, you've got a lot of people that are in those general areas that are taking the food stamps and that are homeless. But how can we separate the things that have happened in the United States from our current condition as it relates to homelessness and these food deserts? Let's talk about the food desert that this young lady in the orange dress just talked about. She just mentioned food deserts. And for those who don't know what a food desert is an area where most major grocery chains have pulled out. Now, whether it be because of theft or because they looked at their overall business plan and it just wasn't making any money in these lower income communities, these grocery stores, large chains, pull out. And so what replaces those grocery stores oftentimes are stores like the Dollar Tree, the Dollar Store, the Dollar General. And these are not stores that are set up for fresh fruits and vegetables. So it is a desert because it does not have all of the types of food that you would want to eat. Unfortunately, those are the areas where you will find a higher incidence of processed foods. You will have a higher opportunity for processed foods, snacks, sugary things. What are those meats? The processed meats and all that kind of stuff, like the hot dogs and the hamburger. Not even hamburger, the sandwich meat. Things like that. Although some of them have gotten into some dairy, some milk, and some eggs and some butter. Some of them have. But what about the fresh fruits and the vegetables? What about the roughage? What about the lettuce? What about the radish? What about the tomato? What about the avocado? Where are you going to get the carrots? See, here's another piece. And they've orchestrated this whole entire thing. And I keep saying they because I have to put the blame where the blame is. If it was by accident, okay, so fine. It was by accident. But if it wasn't by accident, I believe you. Because if you look at the fact that we have allowed this country has allowed this to happen, and nobody put the brakes and said, hey, wait a minute. In every state and every city, you got the city council. The city council should have been saying, excuse me, I'm so sorry, but you can't move out of here. If this grocery store comes in this area, we're going to need you to, agree to be here for 20 years. And if you're going to leave, we need to know. 20 years, you got to be here. And then when that, maybe 15th year comes, they can start shopping around for another company to come in. Because see, to me, that's what a good city council is. A good city council would say, hey, it's time for us to start shopping and getting some more grocery stores to come in here. Because when you got a one-horse town, they can leave at any time. And that's what's happened in a lot of these communities. That's what's happened. Do you see how that works? So you've got all of these people who are now not able to necessarily take care of their own, take care of themselves at no fault of their own. And when I say that, I'm thinking of the 300,000 Black women that were released from their positions during the time of February of 2025, because the majority of those women over the United States worked in the government. And a lot of those government positions were cut. Now they're cut. You still got to get out there in that rat race and find a job. And a lot of these people didn't bounce back quick. A lot of those, this stuff here, when I finally get down to it, when I finally break it all down, you're going to follow me and see what we're saying. So let's get into the end of this, and then we'll be able to talk freely about what else I think is going on.
Restricting food and the benefits that could come from those restrictions.
As these actions get taken place by the government, there has to be kind of like a middleman, a broker to kind of encourage people like, okay, now that this has been eliminated, this is what options you have.
And the people living here are thankful for that.
Have you ever used the resources across the street, the community garden?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
It's great. Nice, they doing that.
Jada Williams, ABC Action News.
Reporting live from Ivory.
All right, so we see that, we understand what's going on, but as we look at it, let's see here. Michael Powell says, at the Lockhart perspective, how about Trump's EO criminalizing homelessness happened in the last few days or weeks to my knowledge? That's what we're covering. Again, shameless plug. I said again, it's like my third time saying it. Shameless plug. That's what we're dealing with tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time on Lockhart Perspective, Headlines with a Voice. If you are not subscribed over there, please go ahead and subscribe. We're trying to get to 120,000 subscribers on that channel, and this channel we're trying to get to 10,000 subs. So we were going to shut it all down over here, but I decided I'd let this be the area where I can have my intimate conversations with you guys like this one. So we're going to keep it right here where it is, right? Both channels have similar names. This one's The Lockhart Perspective. That one is Lockhart Perspective. We have to engulf that channel. There's a whole lot of legalese stuff that I'm not going to go into right now, but just know, same person, it's going to be me. But let's get to the point here, okay? This homelessness criminalization that you mentioned here is what we're talking about tomorrow. And it is so diabolical. It is a diabolical topic. Diabolical, and for so many reasons. I don't want to get into it because I fear that I will just, let me tell you, I got some feelings. So, all right. So we don't have the ability to grow the groceries that we did when they first brought this benefit system over to the American people during the time of the war, and all of that was actually set up for women who were widows or husbands who'd gone off to the war and they wanted to take care of their families. So the government gave it to them, and then everybody ended up getting it. Okay, great. Now, I believe that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be hungry. I believe that a lot of diseases that we didn't have before are going to start to arise again, whether it's on purpose or whether they make it up. Because when a child does not have a certain amount of vegetables, fruits, minerals, sunlight, a lot of stuff, they've jacked this place up. They have jacked this whole entire game up. So let's all make ourselves a committee of one. Mamas out there, let's get all you mamas out there on patrol, on the scene. Okay, let's get all of the mamas, grandmamas, and everybody. Is a call to action, right? It's a CTA. The CTA is, if you guys understand that this is going on in your community, start to speak up. Even the helpers that don't want to hear what you got to tell them, go ahead on and tell them, baby girl, let me tell you something. This is how you got to do this. If you want your kids to have something sweet to drink and they want a beverage, go ahead on and get yourself some stevia and some tea bags. Get you and keep you some ice, little ice trays. Keep them ice trays. Get yourself a nice little pitcher. Boil yourself about a half a cup of hot water. Put that stevia on top of that ice and then pour that hot water with that tea in there. Over there, it's going to crush it. You guys have got yourself some iced tea. If the kids want some cookies, that's okay. Go ahead and make them for them homemade. All you need to do is make sure that you buy yourself some bread. Some flour, the same that you would do for bread. Get you some flour. Make sure you got you some white sugar, some brown sugar. I'm trying to say, figure out how to do these things without trashing your kids and without tearing it up. Because let's just be honest, a lot of us do eat some snacks. Okay? A lot of us do. Make it a fun time and an opportunity for you and your kids to bake together. We ain't got no time. Well, then you may not need to make them then. Just let it be. What I'm trying to give you is an alternative. All right? How are you going to shop with that little food? Well, it looks like you're going to be going back to dried beans if you can get them. And while you can get them, make sure you go on over to a store that you can purchase some seeds from, sweetie, because by fall, go ahead and plant some stuff now. Make sure that you're looking to see what you can have a harvest for, a small boxed garden. Go right here on YouTube and get you the ability to make a small boxed garden in your backyard, on your patio, on your porch. I just can't do it. Well, then you ain't going to eat. Figure out a way to create a small boxed garden. Even if you plant yourself some potatoes and you don't pull up but about 5 or 6 of those potatoes after you put them in the ground for a week. I'm trying to say, figure out ways to do this thing because you can buy seeds with your EBT card. Yes, you can. So what do we do if this is something that we do change to? What does that look like for us? Looks like we could be a lot healthier. Looks like we won't be dealing with diabetes for long. It looks like we can give the king and the rich folk their diseases back. Go ahead on and give them all that gout back. Go ahead on and give them all that diabetes back. Because they were the ones who usually had those types of diseases in the first place. Because they had such great access to all of this stuff. Don't think it a sad thing and do not feel like you are just going to be out. You can't do it without no snacks. Man, leave that crap where that crap is. That is the biggest blessing they could have ever given us. Now, here's what we do. We showed them what we made of, because this is the opportunity for us to be the way that we used to be, especially in the Hispanic community, especially in the American Indian community, especially in our community. In our community, we always grew vegetables. We always knew how to make it. We always know how to stretch stuff. The only people who lose their mind in times like this is people who have always had too much. But baby, this ain't nothing hard for regular folks. Huh? This ain't gonna be a difficult task for you, father, who's trying to take care of the kids, mama, who's trying to really do the right thing. And there are a lot of parents out there that are trying to do the right thing. I'm not about to trash everybody, because I feel like there's enough of that going on right now. But to be very honest with you, honey, this is going to be the best ride. Why? Because if you got your mind switched to the correct direction, you're going to know, just like I know, that all of the sugary garbage and trash that we were able to purchase at those stores that mean us no good was killing the kids. You see the children get off these buses these days, the little girls in middle school and high school menstruating too soon because of the trash that they're putting in their body. They get off the bus and they look just like a herd of bison. We didn't get big until after we had our first couple of children and got sedentary. But these poor daughters and young men are not given a chance. You have more young men running around with gynecomastia. You have more young men running around with breasts at 11 and 12 years old because of the trash that they put in the food. Getting people their garbage back. Go right on here on YouTube and learn how to create your own little garden. I know somebody who has, I'm not going to say their name, but they actually have a small garden on their balcony, her third floor balcony. Small little garden, but she's got little, looks like little buds of lettuce, like little butter lettuce. These cute little heads of lettuce. She's got some dwarf little tomato plants, little plants with the little stays and sticks. The most adorable thing you ever wanted to see. That girl's not going to go hungry, but let me tell you something else about that child. She's not even 25 years old. Huh? Do not allow this circumstance and situation and all the bedlam and mayhem and all these things that they want you to just go crazy over. You can't buy this. You can't buy that. You can't do this. Baby, you ain't got to worry about none of that. You don't have to worry about none of that. Go head on and take care of yourself. You know what, Betty R, she is a smart girl. But let me tell you something about this child, honey. She would actually get her extra little money, work extra hours, and she would pay her rent up 2 months in advance. This is a young child. I've known this little girl for a minute. All right. All right. So we've covered about the fact that they were giving us the ability to have the food and all of that other stuff. Okay, great. We've already talked about the food deserts, and we know that they do exist. But there's a way for you to try to figure out something. They do have more of those gardens like that gentleman showed, sprouting up in a lot of different communities, right? So that's another thing. All right, I taught y'all how to make you some iced tea. If you don't want no sugar, put you some stevia in there, or you can even make your regular cups of tea, but pour that over some ice, honey, or get you some lemons. Get you some lemons and let that sit and let that put your little sugar in there and some water. The same thing you do when you go to the restaurant and you don't want to buy no pop. And you go ahead and get you a lemon and squeeze it in there and put you them little sugar packets. I seen you. You guys go ahead and do that. That way you'll be okay. And now it's gotten to the point now with these things, I made some notes here that they're trying to make you choose between eating and taking care of your other bills. But don't you know that you can still make sure that you feed your family? We don't necessarily need all of that meat. We can turn this around to be a good thing, or we can go ahead on and start crying now, because I think that when we look at what I think it was Michael talking about, what we're talking about tomorrow, dealing with the homeless situation, that right there made me spit. Oh boy, I was pretty hot when I started going through some of these statistics. All right. Now let's consider some of the irony. The same exact FDA, the same exact government that cannot keep up with the food recalls wants to tell you what's not good for you. I'm not saying that you should drink the pop. I'm not saying that you should eat all those foods. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, don't you think it's quite unique? You all can't even take care of the food that you're supposed to watch. You can't even watch the cucumbers. You guys have gotten rid of alfalfa sprouts because you can't even watch the alfalfa sprouts. You guys can't even keep tree nuts and other stuff out of things that's not supposed to have tree nuts in it. You guys get our meat, like I told you guys on the other channel the other night. We have our chicken grown, slaughtered here in the United States. But if it's going to have a breading, it goes from here, the United States, all the way over to China to be processed. They're such a big bad wolf, right? You tell us they're the big bad wolf, right? China's a big bad wolf, but yet and still, our chicken goes over there. They process it, bread it, put it into the little patties, turn it into the nuggets. They turn it in all of that, and then they ship it back. Full of rubber bands, because that's what it tastes like. When you eat one of those nuggets and the thing you didn't know why, it tastes like it's like a pack of rubber bands. And you're like, what the heck is this? I've never seen this piece of chicken before. That's because they sent it over to China. But because the United States decided not to allow them to label it and tell you that it was in China, they say that as long as it was slaughtered and raised here, you can still keep the label, born in the USA. You can still keep that label. Born in the USA, I was processed in the China. Yeah, that's what they do. Born in the USA, processed in China. But they don't have to tell you. But they can tell you what you can't eat with them food stamps. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So they can't even protect the cucumbers. They can't protect or tell you what happens to that chicken when it comes from the United States across the water and then comes back in. So the question is really, what are they adding the tariffs on if they have the ability to do that? Oh, never mind me. Never mind me. You know how I can get. All right. So with $200, what can you get, baby girl? Make sure you get you some rice. Get you some jasmine rice as long as you can get it. As long as now the next thing gonna happen is they don't cut your food stamps, and then what's gonna happen is they're gonna create a food shortage by saying, "Oh, we can't get rice, we can't get potatoes, we can't get this, we can't get that, we can't do this and that." All of that's coming next because they need you to need them. They need you to be so desperate that you say, "Yes, yes, do whatever you want." So you're going to get rice. You're going to get beans. You're going to make sure that you get, watch your dates on your mixed vegetables, frozen vegetables. Watch your dates. Get your canned green beans. Get you, see if you can get, if you like tuna, double check the tuna. Make sure that you can get you some tuna. And listen, don't worry about getting a boatload of cans of tuna. You can stretch that tuna. You can stretch it by take a half a cup of boiled macaroni, put that in there. All right. And then you can put those together and mix whatever you like, whether you like mayonnaise and mustard and relish, you can do all that. You don't have no relish, that's okay. Stick that mustard in there and take a half a teaspoon of sugar to give you that sweet taste that you taste off that relish. It tastes just the same. It's just the same. Your kids won't even notice it. If you don't have a relish, go ahead and take a half a teaspoon of that sugar. Once you put that mustard in that vinegar and that sugar, that's going to give you the taste of the relish. Chop up your onions real fine. Take care of your vegetables. Make sure that you're not putting your onions in the refrigerator. Make sure that you are not keeping those potatoes so long till they get eyes and greenies and all that other stuff. Make sure you don't buy them with greenies, which means the green look of those potatoes. You don't want to do that. So there are a lot of things that you can do to help yourself, because if you don't, you ain't going to be here. You're not going to be able to eat well. Not at all. You're not. You're not going to be able to eat well at all, because if you don't understand how to shop and you don't understand that there are ways that you can make things for your children, because kids do like snacks. Kids do. You can take grapes, put them in the freezer, wash them off really good. Take those little individual snack bags. Okay. There's these little bitty snack bags and you can put them in, you can freeze them, and then you can drop them in, if you got little kids, not too little, because you don't want them trying to chew a grape because they can choke on it. But if you got your 9, 10-year-old, 11-year-olds, get them kids some grapes in that freezer. It'll taste just like those little what are those bears called? What are those candies called? They've got the candies, that's the Sour Patch Kids. Get you some good sour grapes, some green grapes, and freeze those things and get them to those kids in those little pouches. Let them sit down and eat and watch their program. They'll never know the difference. They'll never know the difference. You'll keep them wide open too. You don't have to worry about nobody being sick if they're eating fruit, if they're eating the grapes, if they're eating the raisins, if they're eating, even prunes or dates. You can find a way to get yourself through all of this stuff. I don't know what's going on with this dude. I don't know. I really don't. But something wrong. Something is wrong. Now, we're not going to trip on that, though. I'm not going to trip on what's wrong with him. I'm really not. I'm really not. Because if I trip on what's wrong with him, then we're never going to get to any solutions that we can pass and share with each other. So again, tonight's call to action is mamas, grandmamas, uncles, nephews, nieces, whoever you are. If you got some good sense, even remember I told you that young 20-some-odd little girl, she knows what she's doing. And if you're that age and you know how to tell somebody something good, tell them something good. They don't even have to have chocolate chips in the chocolate chip cookie. Did you know that the best taste of the cookie is the cookie when you're baking your own chocolate chip cookies? So get yourself all the stuff that you need and you'll be able to help yourself, right? You'll be able to help yourself. Okay. So make sure that you're getting your correct flour. Make sure that you're getting, make sure you're getting your meats and stuff. If you do want to get meats when they go on sale, because I'm here to tell you, everybody and their mama is getting some type of subsidy somewhere. Everybody and their mama right now, with the rent being astronomical and nobody's job paying them more, all of these people getting laid off, somebody's getting some subsidies somewhere. So ain't nobody better than anybody else, right? Take care of yourself and make sure that you can share with others how to do this thing, because you can do it. You know how to do it. You know how to do it. Just like you say here, rice and beans. Huh? Yep. Rice and beans. Yes, they can still make it say made in the United States. That's right. Yep. Yep. That'll be coming soon. That'll definitely be coming soon. That'll be coming again soon. If you can't pronounce it or know what it is, leave it alone. Good point. Good point, we name. Good point. Okay, you've eaten some cryptochronolocalike. Yeah, they're going to be coming real soon, Michael. They are going to be coming very soon. Yeah, you do that too, Betty R. And it's delicious. You can do the same thing with blueberries. Just make sure that you guys, the folks that are going to be trying to do certain things here, do not wet your blueberries until you are ready to eat them. And if you do wet some of them, make sure those are the ones that you eat and don't put them back. For whatever reason, it'll liquefy the whole entire container. Okay? It'll liquefy everything. Funny quid. They did not stock half and half and posted a recipe on how to make it. Oh my God. When at the store, Michael, they didn't have it and told you how to make it. But like you said, I think it was you talking about the coffee a little bit ago, wasn't it, Michael? That's a mess, right? Vicky says product of USA processed. Yes, they take the chicken. It's grown in the United States. It's slaughtered in the United States. Then it is sent to China to process. Okay. They will process the chicken there. And when they process it, they make it into chicken patties. They make it into chicken strips. They make it into chicken nuggets. And then they bread it. They season it. They do all of that in China. They package it, seal it, box it, put it on the, they put it on the ships and ship it back to the United States. So really, like I said earlier, people were wondering, well, exactly, what do they, how do our tariffs affect them and vice versa? Well, we already know we're the ones going to be paying for the difference. All right. We're the ones paying for the difference. And they have a lot of farmland here. We just talked about that the other day, the farmland, when we broke it all down over on headlines, when we discussed the situation with the land and the seeds in Arkansas, how that particular Governor Huckabee Sanders, she decided a couple of years ago, enough is enough. This company is from China. You got to get out of here. We're going to take your land. You got to sell it. You got to do whatever you got, but you got to go. And we also share with you at that particular time that it wasn't just in the state of Arkansas, that China and this Syngenta company was all over the United States doing the exact same thing. And so this is the reason why I feel it's necessary to tell you guys how to make sure that while this is going on, you take care of yourself and understand that when you're dealing with a chicken nugget with certain companies, it was made here in the United States and shipped overseas to China. They turned it into the patty. They turned it into the nugget or the chicken strip. And now when you pulling it and you feeling like it's got a rubber band in it, I don't know what it is, but I do know what it ain't 100%. So we're supposed to have them as the boogeyman, and yet they only have a 15% tariff. And you got other countries that's got what, 25, 30, 50% tariffs. What do they do? What do we get from them? You guys, you have got to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove, more and more and more. Tomorrow, do not forget to check us out. 6 o'clock Central Time. We're going to be talking about the homeless situation, not just in the District of Columbia and DC. We're talking about it all over the United States, how it's affected people, how it's going to affect people, and exactly who it's going to affect. Remember back in the day where people would talk about the homeless and the people who are on food stamps and all this other stuff? Oh, they're homeless. They just want to be homeless. They don't this and that. Really? We're going to be talking about those who have been displaced because of fires in California. We're going to talk about those who've been displaced because of circumstances in Texas, in Kentucky, in North Carolina, in Louisiana, from small little things that have happened that have now pushed people out. People who are employed, who ain't got nowhere to stay. This is not it's not cool for people to think that people who are homeless are these nasty, dirty derelicts. No, my friend, they are the former Californian individual who lived in Cali and then lost their home insurance and only 2 months later had a house that burned down to the ground. Oh, except for a couple of pieces, like the trees around the house, of course. It's those people who get up and go to work every single day and who cannot afford to even leave the state because of the circumstance, the dire circumstance, having lost their home has left them in. These are the people that we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're not going to talk about what everybody thought the homeless look like, because they don't look like what you think they look like. They're people who are sleeping in cars, people who have lost the car because they cannot afford to keep the car. They have GPS trackers on the car. Now they done towed the car away. Somebody's repoed the vehicle. Now they have no choice, but they literally are sitting there on a bench, and that's where their new house is. But now, because we've got so many things coming on in the United States right now, we've got all these great events that are going to be coming up, all the way to the fact of what we're talking about tomorrow on the other channel at 6 o'clock Central. We're going to be talking about what happened to some of those buildings and some of those office spaces that we had. How could the president sell those? Did he sell them? To whom? Who's the highest bidder? And why would we even care about what DC looked like right now? Do we have a group of people who are going to be coming here pretty soon? Have you been to the United Arab Emirates? Oh, I don't think you just don't mind me. Have you been to Dubai? How does it look? Is it pristine and clean? Do they have fecal matter from humans on their ground like they do up in, DC or in San Francisco in the Tenderloin? Do they have people doing all kinds of stuff, all different types of things? They don't. Okay, so maybe if those individuals were coming here, do you think maybe we should, I don't know, entertain them with a clean, landscaping and pristine parks like they have when we go to their country? Maybe we're trying to keep up with them. Maybe, just maybe. I don't know. Just maybe. Just maybe. Right? Just maybe. You will not believe what we are doing as a country. You will not believe what we are doing as a country. You just won't. And you really want to understand why now. That's the question. Why now? We have people that we are putting out of places that listen, let me put it down here right now to give it to you real good. Let me give it to you real good. So that way you guys can come over and check us out tomorrow at 6:00 on Headlines with a Voice, Lockhart Perspective, when we deal with homelessness in the United States and some of the things that the president just decided to do. Let me give you this little bit of tidbit. When you consider the fact that a lot of the Americans that are now sleeping on those park benches and spots in the parks could not even get a place in a homeless shelter for the past few years because they were already overrun with individuals from foreign countries that our government, no matter who the president was, allowed in here. These are the same people who couldn't get in then. They could not get in then. So now they have been on the streets. I remember seeing some shows where people were actually trying to get into some of these shelters and they were told, are you Native American? Or are you from here? Where are you from? Well, I'm from America. This is okay. So no, we're not taking anybody that's not from overseas. If you're not, I'm paraphrasing here, but if you are not from another country, you're not getting into this homeless shelter. Keep that at the forefront of your mind when you think about the fact that irregardless to who did it, it was done. Keep that in the forefront of your mind tomorrow while we're looking at these stories all over the United States in concert. Do you hear me? In concert. They're doing it in concert. It's not just being done in one spot, but it's being done in concert. And it's also being done, get this, because they want to look good when the people that they are selling this place off part and parcel to come to visit. Baby, when you hear the stuff, you ain't gonna understand it. Anyway, everybody, I'm gonna let y'all go. It has been exceptional visiting with you tonight. I'm glad that you guys let me come and talk about the SNAP benefits change as people snap, crackling, and popping. Yeah, they snap, crackling, and popping because the truth of the matter is that everybody and their mama's going to need some assistance here in a minute. Everybody and their mama's going to need assistance, and it was done by design. Yeah. Is this cat going anywhere or is he going to stay? Is this cat going anywhere or is he going to stay? Think about that. Is this cat going anywhere or is he going to stay? Again, I asked before, if you cannot do better than this, then where is Sarah? Where is Nasara? Where is Jasara Nasara? What is it? Betty R, Sandy, where is it? You guys put it down there in the chat because I'll be getting it all tongue-tied. Where is it? Where is Nasara? Where is it? How come we don't have it? Didn't even Clinton signed off on it. Give me my money. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. But we will talk about all of these things and more tomorrow on Headlines of the Voice, Lockhart Perspective, 6 o'clock Central Time. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out with us. And I want you to remember one important thing. I want you to remember to take care of yourself, because it is evident that, baby, if you don't take care of yourself, ain't nobody else going to do it. No one else is going to do it. They're not. And like I always say, if something ever happens to you, God forbid, they're just going to walk over you and go on over to the next relative to see what they got up their sleeve for them. So make sure you take care of yourself. And then if there's somebody around you that you really do want to, help out a little bit, yeah, you can, you can reach around and help them. You can reach around. Yeah, you can do that. You can. And that's not going to hurt anything, right? It won't hurt anything. But until you do that, I want to tell you that I love you, and I want you to take care of my friend, because my friend is you. Peace. Go get you some sauce. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day.